computer. Should be there. One more minute.
All right. You ready to start? We're ready. Awesome. Well, I'm going to let Ryan go first. Ryan, thanks for letting us use the space today. Everyone, please welcome
Sir.
Ryan from Cultivated Center.
I'm in front of this.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome, perfect. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? My name is Ryan Tatum. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Cultivated Synergy. Thank you for joining us today for the great event that is being put on by Hemp Advisors and 2020 Growth Conferences. If you're not familiar, Cultivated Synergy is a co-working space, event venue offering business services geared to the cannabis and hemp industries. So if you have questions, especially after all this craziness, getting the wheels turning again, reach out to us. Let us know what you need help with, see if we can help get you plugged in. But again, thank you for attending today. And I'd like to welcome Michael Scanlon, Director of 2020 Growth Conferences. Michael?
Hey, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate it. All right, thanks, everybody. Yeah. All right, we're actually not requiring masks here today, but Denver is requiring masks, and everybody did wear masks down here today. We've got everybody seated, socially distanced. You can't see it here on this angle, but we'll show you at some point. You know, I just wanted to take a minute to reminisce, Ryan. We had our first conference here on March 5th and 6th. You guys were great hosts. This place was a little busier that day, those 2 days. And ironically, it just happened to be the last event that was here before this one. But that conference went really well. It achieved a couple of the goals that the 2020 Growth was trying to achieve, which was the normalization of cannabis and putting forth some policy suggestions and recommendations the policymakers can then lean on or reflect on or use when they're trying to convince others in their area why some of these policies need to change. And we're going to continue doing that. September 23rd and 24th is going to be the next policy conference, the Cannabis Public Policy Conference, Cannabis Public Policy Conference 2. We're going to have a great lineup of speakers. We've already got some great commitments. We're working on some really big names, so stay tuned on what's going on September 23rd and 24th. In the meantime, we're going to do a series of events like this to try and start bringing people together, to try and start getting the networking going again. Unfortunately, tonight we were limited to 10 people here physically. And if that's going to be the case going forward, we're going to try to get 10 locations across Denver to do 10 groups of people so that we can get 100 people networking. And we'll get some of the online stuff connected like we're going to do here at 5 o'clock today. So that's something else to look forward to both today and in our future events. We'll be doing these about one a month. So with that said, I'm going to introduce David Wilkinson, the Director of Global Strategy with 2020 Growth Conferences. Thanks, David.
Thank you. Well, here we are once again, except the room isn't full with 150 people, because that's what happened the last time we were in here, and it was incredible. In fact, that was the moment that I knew that I had bridged a gap in between the hemp and CBD industry and the cannabis industry. For those of you that don't know my background, I've been in executive coaching for over 20 years, 250 different companies around the world. And about 2 years ago, well, now 3 years ago, I got really called into the hemp and CBD side. And I sat across from a gentleman in Fort Collins, and he shared with me he just got hired at a CBD company. And I was talking to him about it, and I said, I've never heard the word hemp or CBD. And he said, where were you raised? And I said, in Georgia. They said, that explains a lot. So he shared with me all about that, and by the time he was done talking for 2 hours, I felt called into the hemp and CBD space. Although I didn't feel called into the cannabis space until this very location. So it was just a few months ago in March, the very last event that just about anybody attended. And while I was there, I said, this is the type of event that I want to be involved in. And so I said to Michael, I said, I'm in. I'm all in. I'm on both sides. I'm into everything or anyone that has anything to do with this plant that is changing the world. And so for me, when I'm into something, I'm all in. I'm either there or I'm not there. So the 2020 Growth Respawn, I'm excited to talk to you tonight about some ideas about how to kickstart your business. So when I was thinking about the word respawn, if you're not a gamer, it's probably not a term that you know. But respawn is when you die in a game, you have typically a time period that you have to wait until you respawn and you're alive again. And that is a great term where the entire world is right now. I don't know how busy you are. For us and our companies, we're the busiest we've ever been in the last 3 years. Yesterday, I was on almost 10 hours of Zoom calls, 8 different Zoom calls, people that are saying this: I am tired of waiting. I need funds. I need to fix this. I need executive coaching. I need business consulting. We're so tired of waiting. So what I want to talk to you about today is 3 ways to start your cannabis business during and after a crisis. You know, a lot of this has to do with your mind. So if you've got your notes here, hopefully everyone that's on this webinar right now, you've got the notes that were emailed to you. But when you think about respawning and you think about starting up something new, it's because something died, right? That's when you respawn. It's because there's death. And I don't know about you, but I have felt kind of my heart die a little bit throughout this crisis. When I've seen all right now, I believe it's 36.5 million Americans that are now out of work, that are unemployed from this. You're talking about over 10% of our 350 million. This is a serious crisis. And how that hurt a lot of people's hearts. You know, you see them on Facebook, you see them on YouTube, where people have really, they're in a crisis today. And they are at a zero. Maybe they lost their company. Maybe they'll let everybody go. Maybe their dream died. And that's where some people are today. And we're going to talk about how do you jumpstart the 3 different areas or the different levels wherever you are as a person in your company. So what we're going to talk about is, where are you with your mindset and what do you need to move forward? You know, right now we've got a packed room of 10. You know, if you would have told us this same time last year, hey, by the way, the biggest workshop you can have, the biggest event you can have is 10, we all would have laughed and said, yeah, right. And here we are. So right now, it's almost going through the 5 stages of grief, isn't it? Sometimes you go through denial. Oh no, this isn't really happening. This isn't real. To getting angry about it, to getting frustrated, to finally accepting it, and then asking, what do I do to move forward? So we want to talk to you about what happens if you have a dead battery. So let's take a look at that on some of your notes. So if you have a dead battery, here's what happens. You're not making any money. That's what a dead battery means. It means that you are trying to market your product, you're trying to sell your service, and nobody's buying from you. Now, if you're in that category and you've been doing that, I don't know, a week, you may feel it a little bit. If you're a brick and mortar store and you go without a week worth of sales, you might not be able to pay your rent if you're going paycheck to paycheck. So the money means that you're emotionally becoming, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And you become in a panic. The second thing is this, is if you're not making any money, your staff is probably starting to look for jobs. Right? If they don't see money coming in, you can get a despondent staff where they're like, why are we even here anymore? Why are we doing this? And you know, you hear people all the time, I'm looking for work. Wait, are you still working? Yes, I'm still working, but I don't think I'm going to be there much longer. And you get despondent with that. Number 3, what if there's no opportunities? So one of the things that I've been doing is asking the question, when do we believe we're going to be able to have real events again? Like with hundreds of people. When is that going to take place? And we don't know. You know, I just got an email from one of the key leaders in all of the hemp industry called Morris Spiegel. He's in charge of NoCo Hemp Expo. I just got an email from him yesterday. He said, David, I don't know if we're going to be able to do the August event. I'll let you know in June. And I could hear the sorrow in his email that he was planning on this 20,000 person event at the end of March. And now we're looking at, oh my gosh, we could postpone it till next year, and the impact that has on your soul and on your heart. So what do you do when you have a dead battery? Here I have a car, right? And it's a beautiful car. Let's say it's a Mercedes-Benz. It's $150,000. It's an AMG. It's all souped up and the battery's dead. Isn't that awesome? You can't even use your clicker, your remote to get into it. So here you got this awesome car and it can't start. What do? You drive up another car. That's what you do. And then you got something called jumper cables, right? Hopefully every single person in the room knows what I'm talking about, right? You put the red on the positive, the black on the negative. Don't swap them or you can get sparks, right? And then and what do? You jump start the car. When you are in a place where you have a dead battery for your business, it means this: you do not have the emotional capacity to jumpstart your own business again. We're going to see levels of vulnerability and honesty like we've never seen in the world coming out of this. People today are more honest with what's happening with their staff, with their company, with their finances than anything else. I have had the most sincere, authentic Zooms that I've ever had in my life, because people are saying, David, I don't know what to do. I think I'm going to lose my business. What am I going to do next? If you have a dead battery, you can't get up enough positive energy to make it work. So what do? Well, here's what you do. You need a jump start. So first you have to say, okay, I know I'm really at zero. Accept that you're at zero. It's okay. You're not going to die from that, but you need a jump start. That means that you have a car and you got the jumper cables on and you have the other set of jumper cables and you're looking for someone else who has a car that's going to be nice enough to stop by and jump off your car. That's what you're hoping for. Now, for those of you that live around the world or in different states, you live in Colorado, people still stop here. If they see you on the side of the road, I've seen person after person stop and help somebody on the side of the road. I hope Colorado never changes. But that's what you need. So here's what it is. Here's your research project. Find the top 5 most successful and encouraging cannabis leaders currently in the marketplace and contact them and ask them for a Zoom appointment. Why? You're asking for them to take where they're at with their high intensity, with their inspiration, with their encouragement, with their wisdom, and to jumpstart your business again. You know, after coaching for 20 years, here's what I know. It takes a half an hour sometimes to jumpstart a person's dead battery where they say, I won't give up, I'm gonna go back and do it again. During this time, I hope that if you are having a low battery, you're finding other people that are positive and encouraging, that are in the industry, that are saying, don't give up, it's okay, what do you need? How can we help you? Because that's why we're in cannabis in the first place, because we all wanna work together for the best of the industry. Well, what about the second battery? It's a mediocre battery. It means you're kind of like oatmeal. When I think about mediocre, I think about oatmeal. You know, there's only so many things you can do to oatmeal to make it taste good. Now, if you're an oatmeal person like I am, you know, I have to literally take the oatmeal and then I put a banana in it and then I put cinnamon on it and then I put nuts in it and then I put a huge chunk of peanut butter in it. And if I am really like, this still doesn't look good, I will either take syrup or honey and I'll drench this stuff and I will eat it, feel good about my heart, because oatmeal is good, heart healthy stuff. So oatmeal for me is mediocre. When you think about mediocre, it means that you don't have the passion that you once had for what you do. That's what mediocre is. If it goes under, I hope it doesn't go under. If it goes big, I'm not real sure. So it means you're having 50% revenue. You're paying your bills. Everybody's okay. You don't have to lay off any staff. But you know what? It's not really exciting like it used to be, like when you first started. That means you have staff that are probably in the same place. And you've met these people, haven't you? You know, I think cannabis is the funniest place to work because people are so honest. I've had people I've met the first time to ask me for a job because they're not really excited where they're working in their own cannabis company. They're literally saying to me, do you have an opening for me? I've met people for 5 minutes. They're like, you seem like a good guy to work for. Can I leave my company and join yours? I'm like, what's wrong with your company? Oh, well, I just work there. They just pay me an hourly wage. So a transactional staff is, you pay me money and I'll show up and do my job. But my passion doesn't align with what I'm doing. Right now, when you think about mediocre, here's what you need to question. How many staff members are you currently paying that if you said to them, I'm going to pay you a full year salary, but you don't have to work here anymore, would they stay working at your location? Because mediocrity means I'm not passionate enough to stay. I'm only getting a paycheck. Therefore, you have mixed opportunities, don't you? You have some opportunities that come that are perfect, and you have a lot of opportunities that come that look perfect that aren't. You know, one of my biggest frustrations in the cannabis industry is the number of people that do not execute what they say. Our team has had numerous opportunities to have some amazing events, and the people just don't have their act together. You know, you send them the proposal, everybody agrees, there are signatures. It's time for go. All right, listen, let's meet every single week for an hour. Let's do this. All of a sudden, you never hear from the person again. There's no email. They changed their cell phone number. Their website's not on. It's like, what on earth? And it's just like, it's flighty. You don't know where these people are. And so, you know, these mixed opportunities happen sometimes because the person who's in charge isn't clear with what they want to do. When you're clear with what you want to do, you get clear opportunities that work. So if you're saying right now, David, 5 out of every opportunities is not working, guess what that means? You're probably mediocre yourself, because passionate people draw the right opportunities for them to make a difference. So here's the question. What do you do when you have a mediocre battery? Well, you need to be reminded of why you got into the industry in the first place. So here's how that happens. Typically, when I meet somebody in cannabis and I say this to them, tell me your story. You know what they tell me? That their mom or their dad or their sister or their brother or their best friend or their spouse or their child or themselves had some kind of crisis, and they started taking cannabis and it revolutionized their life, and they got into the industry because it changed them personally. If you're mediocre today about cannabis, you know why? You have maybe been taking it for years, or your families and friends have been taking it for years, and you've forgotten that first love that you had when you got into cannabis in the first place. So here's your research project. I want you to find 5 of the most passionate customers you have and call them up. Zoom is best, right? You Zoom and you see the person, ask them to tell you again why they're buying your products, and hear their story about how you're changing their life. You know, I will always have a special place in my heart for cultivated synergy. The owners don't know how much the event of the cannabis public policy did to me personally. But when I was driving down here, I got emotional. I said, I can't believe I'm going back to the location where I felt really called into the cannabis industry. So when you talk to somebody and hear the truth about how your product or service has changed their life, it will touch you emotionally, and you'll regain the battery that you once had. Share it with your team. Make sure that they know and hear the stories. Because sometimes if you're at the top, you're the only one hearing the stories, and the other staff members, they don't know what's going on, and therefore they miss out on the stories that touch your heart, and you got to make sure you pass it on down the line. Now, some of you today, you're at a level of jumpstart, and it's called maximized. That means your battery is completely full. I mean, you're just going. You're like, oh, I am so glad the virus hit, because I got more business than I know what to do with. And I've made better friendships, and I'm Zooming people I haven't Zoomed in years. And man, I'm on top of it. And if that's you today, congratulations. This is awesome. It means that you are driving around with a vehicle that's got a huge battery with jumper cables, and you got these people standing on the side of the road kind of waving at you going, come over here and help me, because your battery is full. It's maximized. That means you're killing it with your revenue. You know, I think it was in April. I got a call from a gentleman in Hawaii I haven't talked to in, I guess, about a year. He says, David, I want you to do an operations manual for a hedge fund. Here's $10,000, go. And I'm like, yeah, all right. That's the best way to make a sale, when somebody calls you up and says they want to pay you when you haven't even pitched to them the idea. That's the best thing to do. When you're making revenue, you feel good about it. When you go to the grocery store, you're like, hey man, I can spend $1,000. This is great. It's such a great life when you're at maximized. If you're there today, it means that your staff is more passionate than probably you are. Here's how you know that. On a Monday morning, how many emails did you get on the Saturday and Sunday from your staff, from your team, that said this, I got a new idea how to take our company to the next level? See, that's how you know you got a passionate staff, is they don't click off their brain from Friday by 5 until Monday at 9 because they are always engaged, because they're a part of the movement of your company. You have so many great opportunities. You have to say this word. Now, if you're an entrepreneur, this is the worst swear word you can possibly utter. It's called no. No, it's a terrible word, but if you're maximized and you've got 50 opportunities this month, you can't say yes to everything. You're going to have to literally screen and sift through some of those ideas and say no to the ones that don't align with your vision. What a great problem to have during the season. So what do you do when you have a maximized battery? Okay, here's what it is. You need to jumpstart the batteries of other dead batteries called business owners, entrepreneurs. And here's my encouragement to you. Recognize something, that your battery will go down with every jump that you give. You see it all the time. People that were once successful that are no longer, they used all the energy in their battery by jumping off so many different people that what happened is their energy started going down, and the next thing you know, they got mediocre themselves, and then all of a sudden didn't have anything left. You're not supposed to jump off every single dead battery. You're supposed to jump off the batteries of the people that seek you out. Let me say that again. Be wise in who you help. Be careful with who you give your energy to if you're a maximized battery. You can be taken advantage of so quick it'll make your head spin. So be selective. Find the people that come to you and ask for help and then say, that's the right person. You'll find that a lot of people think that even when they have 0 in their battery, they still are something else. It takes humility to go and ask for someone else to say, would you please take your battery and jumpstart my vehicle? I need help. So this is the best time when you have a full battery to create something called strategic alliances. You're going to create partnerships with other full batteried people, because the more that you put those batteries together with those cars, the more people you can jumpstart as a team. You know, this happened with me with Michael Scanlon with, growth, 2020 growth conferences. What happened is I was at full battery and he was at full battery, and there was so much sparks. I said, we can help the world. We got to do this together. And I jumped in with both feet. I couldn't help it. It was almost like I was pushed into a river and I was taken downstream. You know exactly what I'm talking about. When you find somebody that has the same battery frequency as you, it sparks fly. It's awesome. So when you create a partnership, you build loyalty with the other people that have the batteries just like you, and the people that you jumpstart, they're never going to forget of what you did for them. You know, there's a gentleman watching us in a lot of our webinars and meets with me frequently, and he said to me, David, you know, I was at such a low point when you found me and you just encouraged me, and now I believe we're going to make it through the year. You know, never underestimate what your words can do for another business person. You may just save their company. It doesn't take a lot. It really doesn't. It's just being deliberate with the energy that you have to help the right people. So for me, that was somebody that I actually met in this room. And I remember Anthony Mayer and I stood right there and we had a beer right there. And I just got a bromance. He knows it, I know it. And so here's the thing, it was awesome. I was like, dude, we got to talk. And so I haven't talked to him for the whole time. And I talked to him like yesterday. I'm like, man, we got to do this. We got to do this. So I had a beer, I cheersed him over Zoom. It was awesome. It was meaningful. And I said, hey, listen, why don't you come to this? He's like, I'm there. He is at a full battery. I'm at a full battery. You know why? Because I'm telling him all these new clients. He's saying, I got all these new clients. When two batteries start talking that it's at that level, do you know what happens? They get more business naturally. This is one of the greatest secrets about the law of momentum. That's actually our next talk on June the 11th. It's creating momentum in the cannabis industry. It is one of the most powerful laws you can use in your life. And it is literally this: when you're clear with what you do and you get with the right one other battery and the sparks fly, you can't stop your business from growing. So if you've got a full battery, time to start building partnerships with other full batteries and find those that need help. So we would like to invite you to two things over these next few months. Number one, we want to invite you to the next in-person event on June 11th. We do not know if the U.S. government will decide that 11 people will be safe to gather. We don't know that. So right now, we're just saying 10 people. Everybody's got their mask. I'm talking to the screen, so I'm pretty sure I won't get anything from my screen. We all have got this. We all have our mask. We all did this. And now we're done. We're talking, okay? So bring your mask to the June 11th. If they say you don't have to wear them anymore, we won't wear them. But that's on creating momentum in the cannabis industry. So what we're looking for are 10 different host leaders. Now, I don't care what state you're from. It doesn't matter. We're looking for 10 host leaders. If you can get a location and you can recruit 9 other people in the cannabis industry, you're a host location. And what we're going to do is we are shooting to have a 100-person event, staying under the radar, right, of having a big event, because we have 10 host locations. So we have numerous people that have already said yes to this because they're so excited about it. In fact, I wanted to surprise Michael with a couple people. So this is going to be a speed networking, short motivational talk. And by the way, if you're a host, you're responsible to bring sealed snacks. And what that means is I just went to Chick-fil-A and I had 10 different dinners, okay? And all of them were in their own bag. So everybody got their own packed lunch, and then we had beers that Michael wiped down each one individually, okay? So you're responsible to wipe down your own drinks, and you're responsible to get your own non-figure food sealed snacks, please. And so I wanted to thank, number one, the gentleman I spoke to yesterday in Grand Junction, and that's Dan Ramsey, and he has decided to take Grand Junction. He's got his location. He's ready to get his invite going, and he's going to get his 9 people. Northern Colorado Cannabis Community is with Ali, and he's decided to do that for Fort Collins, and we're going to have one here in Denver. And so we're looking for the different areas in Denver. If you'd like to host that, we want you to do that. Now, the big event that's going to happen, unless the government really shuts down America again, is the Cannabis Public Policy Conference 2, and that's going to happen right here in Colorado, September 23rd and 24th. And what we're looking for is additional leadership team members. So we've got a leadership we've been meeting every single month. We have a planning committee that's meeting sometimes twice a month. We need sponsors. We need some panelists. And if you have a passion for the cannabis industry, you want to send out an email to all your database for all your partners to be a part of this. We're looking for 250 people to come to this, and it's going to be a life-changing event, even more than the first one, I might say so. So in conclusion, I want to thank Cultivated Synergy for opening up the space. We believe this is the very first real live event in the world, and it happened right here in Denver, Colorado. We're excited. We're going to put this on the web and let people know nobody died from this. We're going to check back in 2 weeks, make sure nobody's dead. So thank you for joining us on the webinar. In conclusion, we're in the middle of a global crisis, and we need to accept that. And we make fun of it and we have fun with it because we want to keep people lighthearted. But the bottom line is, this is a crisis for people around the world, but that does not mean that you need to close your business. You need to be honest with yourself, your team, your customers, regardless of how uncomfortable it makes you feel when you have to share, if you're the business owner, how the financiers are doing, how the customers are falling away, how you had to close one of your branches. Be open, because vulnerability in this new season is inevitable. You will find that the people that truly remain are the people that have asked for help when they needed it the most. So take inventory of your own beliefs. Why did the virus impact you personally and professionally? And if it happens with a second wave, are you ready for it? What are your values behind your belief system? So no matter if you have a dead battery or a mediocre battery or a maximized battery, you have a choice to create momentum every moment, every day, with every thought and every word. And now is the time for each of you to rise up and be the champions in the industry. Hundreds and thousands of companies are closing every single day. And if you are still here, it's because you still have a purpose in the industry. Now is your time. And we encourage you to rise up and be the leader that you are meant to be. My name is David Wilkinson. I'm with the 2020 Growth Conferences. I'm the Director of Global Strategy. It was an honor and pleasure to be with you today, and we look forward to seeing you at another live event.
All right, thanks, David. So let's do two things real quick. I want to make sure we get everybody online going with the connections thing. We'll do that in just a second. I wondered if everybody here would mind putting their masks on for a minute. I think this will be a great picture. We can all put on our masks. We'll do a selfie sort of thing. A group shot of all of us wearing our masks. Let me see here. Let me turn this around. Not exactly a selfie stick. Yeah. Eyes on the window. You're going to get everybody, but I'm going to take a few more. Hey, we did our best today to be safe with everybody. All right. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate y'all attending today. I wonder if anybody alive is interested in pairing up with anybody online. It might be a potential sales connection there. So if anybody wants to start meeting some of the folks, we're going to try and get them paired off. We're working on the doing the rooms thing, and we're going to make some connections. So if you're online, stand by. Give us like 1 minute to get you going here. All right, everybody. Thanks for that. Anybody interested in pairing up with anybody online? You might be able to make a connection somewhere overseas. What I would encourage is, how can we do this, David? How can we put live people with Zoom people?
So if they want to join the webinar right now that's still going,
Jump on.
they can jump
Zoom.
on right now. So I believe everybody, yeah, with your phones.
Jump online. That's what I was just thinking. And I emailed it out around, I emailed it twice today, so hopefully you got it. But if not, we can probably email it again or even put it up there.
Okay, I see Anthony on there.
Is there a way to pull up some of these folks so that we can look at them here? Like maybe,
yes.
Like pull up Rich Wells or Michaela.
There's Rich. There's Sam. Both Sams. Hey, all right. Let's see if I can do this in chat so I can tell them.
My neighbor Anthony Stellato is on there. That's awesome.
There's a chat. Okay, here we go. Chat. We'll be having the 10 live attendees join our now.
My son texted me that he got laid off. I'm like, hang on, I'll get with you here. That's one of those things that can.
Oh,
well, I had already prepared him for that. I saw this coming. He's planting seeds of encouragement with him. He's in college. I mean, it's not like
he'll get another job.
yeah,
He's out. Okay.
You know, he lives with me. I mean, he's not going to get evicted. That's it. I'm sure it's probably stressful for you. That wasn't bad. We had about 10 people online. We had about 10 people here. Oh yeah, there's tons of food. By the way, all these cans were sterilized before they were put on ice.